No audio again. Oh, now I'm back. No audio again. Oh, now I'm back. Don't know how much up. Can you hear the gas lighting outside? Oh, now I'm back. Don't know how much up. Can you hear the gas lighting outside? Oh, now I'm back. Don't know how much up. Can you hear the gas lighting outside? Oh, now I'm back. Don't know how much up. Can you hear the gas lighting outside? Oh, now I'm back. Don't know how much up. Can you hear the gas lighting outside? Oh, now I'm back. Don't know how much up. There's a lot of interference. There's a lot of interference. I have seen the planetary bodies. Right, now I'm going to change the subject. NASA says it will hit on October the 1st, 2022. It's a new movie, don't look up, really?
A real holiday means not having to think about anything, so let doors open for you. Connect to the...
Last night I'd seen this sci-fi movie called Don't Look Up, which is actually quite hilarious, sort of an, as you would say, time type of movie. Of course, there's an asteroid coming towards our home, Earth, and we have two scientists trying to explain this. What they discovered, they discovered this asteroid. It's like 9 miles wide, coming directly, towards us, and they're very obviously wanting to get the word out about this, and it's just absolutely hilarious how it completely goes wrong. They're trying to put this out on social media, and it just completely backfires. It's just absolutely hilarious. They try to talk to the Prez. The Prez literally doesn't care. She's more concerned about getting in another term. It's really a funny movie, and kind of reflects what we see around us right now. I mean, so many aspects of this movie that literally reflect what we're seeing day to day right now. And obviously, that's not what this video I'm here making is all about, but I found it kind of ironic how this movie came out regarding an asteroid coming towards, Earth. And at the same time, we have stories that are sort of not really known, talking about very similar things happening right now. Matter of fact, we got one story showing that there is one coming in 2022.
Oh, love. They don't hack everything I own.
And I haven't heard anybody talk about it, really. Of course, here's another one right here. Let me show you this first. Let's see if I can get this on the screen a little bit better. There we go. An asteroid that barely missed, we're talking Earth, last week, and no one knew it was coming. And this was last month. No one knew it was coming. They literally had absolutely no clue that it was coming, and by the time it went by, they're like, oh, look, there's one we didn't know about. Oh, and how close did it come to Earth? You might ask. Oh, how about 1,800 miles? Is that close enough, 1,800 miles? You can drive that much in a day or two. Okay? This thing was very, very close. November 2021, and they literally didn't even know it existed. And it was after the fact, they're like, oh, look, well, it just went by us, and it got really close. That's kind of weird. Us scientists didn't know anything about it, right? That right there is intriguing enough, of course. You're just like, what? Really? Seriously? You absolutely had no clue this was coming. Really? Wow, that's interesting. Right? Well, I mean, that's interesting in and of itself, but we have a bigger story here, if I can get over to it. An asteroid that could take, out Earth in 2022. Here's what NASA says. There's one called Didymos, which will be approaching in October.
I don't believe nothing comes out of NASA anyway, because they're hacking into people's minds. They're getting everything crashed. They want a disaster. They want to scare people. Let's just see what his previous take on this was before that. Yeah. End of the world and other suggestions. Luciferian temples and chains beneath the Vatican. Let's check the demonic side. Demonic is. You see. Let's just cover the TI chat, what they were covering.
It's like an internet network, but it's fully sizable. You can make it as big or small as you want with little devices. You can just look it up. Look up mesh networks.
Scott is married.
Yeah, I looked into it a little bit. There's one that goes to
It's all battery powered. It can be either battery powered or direct wired to power, but most of them are, like battery powered with
Look, give me some information. This information, this individual, this channel popped up a few months ago, and I know who's behind getting this guy in California to set up this YouTube channel. And I'm aware that he is mate with Scott. Scott is actually married. The way he does his videos is, I thought there was something that didn't seem right. And then I'm sure they're legit target individuals, but unfortunately there's a lot of people going through so much. I'm going to put my location on. There's an individual, she doesn't always use YouTube, she uses Twitter. Future Issues of Warfare 2025. Right, NASA's Future War 2025 is already here. It's called Transhumanism. Right.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to bring you a very fanciful rant. Here at
It's going to be a very
Media.
long.
Checking the sound. Yeah, I like to hack it, right, so get rid of that. The demons are reptilians, the shape-shifting. Let's get rid of that. Say the date on that. Brain interface technology. No.
Has all of the properties we were talking about as being a soul. First of all, it's immaterial, because copying, that's not a thing, it's a process. It's immortal, it's just like you. You can put it anywhere that you want, heaven, hell. So, all of these things that reside in our heads, these abstract concepts, I think that eventually we can build them, and we have to decide what we want to build.
They are building false realities into which they want to induct you so they can play God.
"2020 was the perfect storm in my life. Over 40 years at work with no downtime at all. Then redundancy, a major surgery within a couple of months. Who would employ me at the age of 60? My pension wasn't sufficient. I had bills to pay.
Vous allez composer le numéro d'appel d'urgence. Votre conversation sera enregistrée. Ne quittez pas.
In 2017, whistleblower and former security contractor at Amazon, Brian Coffrin, disclosed a top-secret mind control weapons program involving some of the largest companies in the world and the federal government of the United States.
I refer to it as a social engineering program. I refer to it as a research and development program. And it's very, very concerning because the people that are in charge of this program are people that are concerned with society on a macro level. They are concerned with grand visions of how society is working and how they want to change it to get it more the way they want it to work. Supercomputer software programming will manipulate the emotions and the behavior and the thoughts of everybody in the United States of America. And it can all be done remotely. It can be done simply by targeting you with a frequency, locking into the resonant frequency of your DNA and your mind, and in that manner completely track and trace and control you 24 hours a day.
Dr. Church, the Financial Times had a write-up about an effort in Switzerland called the Blue Brain Project. It goes a little technical, but it says in stimulating neural circuitry, it's involved in the process is an IBM Blue Gene supercomputer feeding data from the studies of real brains to build a virtual brain. Can you expand on that?
Sure. We do hope, as we did in the Genome Project, to have an international project. What we're doing in the United States and will in an activity map include computational modeling, much of it, but the emphasis will be on measurement and stimulation, which allows you to test the models that are developed in computers. We're going from outer space, detecting dark matter, to inner space, seeing about our brains, using DNA at every step, and most importantly, using citizen science. The next generation of sequencing devices may well be these molecular electronics hybrids, which so-called nanopore sequencing, where we have DNA polymerase that helps couple to ion channels, and you basically convert DNA information into ionic information into computer information. So that's going from DNA to ions, but for the brain, we're interested in the opposite, going from ions to DNA. You can imagine very inexpensive biological cameras, and you could have all the neuronal firings in the brain, which could be encoded into DNA. And we now have molecular nano devices that can do this. They can go from light to DNA, and they can go from ATP, other small molecules of DNA. So ions to DNA, and these are some of the graduate students and postdocs involved in this project. Ions to DNA, we have the ion channels that are going through the spiking, or in some cases, the non-spiking behavior that Ted talked about and Ed talked about. But here, it's influencing the fidelity of the DNA polymerase so that the time series of the calcium, say, turns into a spatial series of changes in the DNA sequence, which you can then read out or compute on. And not just for the RNAs and other molecular identifiers, but what the brain was thinking during activity.
This information is then downloaded and stored on a computer in a highly secure, classified site on servers that are guarded by some of the tightest security in the world. This results in the individual's entire day, everything they see, everything they hear, everything they experience, and everything they feel being recorded till the end of time.
There are a few things where we may or may not admit it, but they're limited by our storage capabilities. So, for example, if we could store everything, we wouldn't be throwing out data. We wouldn't be writing on top of reusing disks and tape drives. If we could store, say, video information over a broad set of the Earth, you can imagine very inexpensive biological cameras that could encode it into DNA, and you could have very exhaustive archives of this.
It is used to look through eyes and ears so that basically every walking human being in the city of Seattle is a walking, talking camera and a walking, talking audio microphone that can be seen through and heard through. And it's important to note that this is not just a program that's run by SIS or Amazon, that the federal government is involved, and this is obvious based on the capabilities of the program and the scope and scale of the program. We're talking about the entire city of Seattle, downtown, and many of the boroughs that are under the influence not only of this technology, but under the influence of a surveillance program.
So when you think about the amount of data, so at 40,000 genomes, just ACs, Gs, and Ts, we're now at 4.65 petabytes of data. With 1 million genomes, it would be well over an exabyte of data. So that doesn't include All the imaging data, all the lab data, everything else, that's just ACs, Gs, and Ts. So we're already in the one.
Elon Musk now.
Internet of Things and a 5G grid is the end game of the New World Order, and it is the New World Order itself. The New World Order being the new world where everything is orderly, everything is tracked, everything is accounted for, every move, every action, every conversation, every thought, everything that people do is tracked. When you're looking at the Internet of Things and this 5G surveillance grid and what is really coming online, this technocracy that is coming online, everything else kind of pales into insignificance, because in this AI grid that is coming online to control us, and it will be an AI grid, it will be controlled by AI, this is in their own plans. And in this grid, there is no one you can really point the finger at, there's no government you can bring down, there's no one you can... can really say is the controlling hand at that point. All control leaves the hands of the people and control gets handed over to the internet itself.
It's a sea change. An onslaught's not an improper word. It's a bombardment. So instead of a cell tower 1 mile or 2 miles from you and you still have cell phone service, we're going to have antennas every block, and some poor soul is going to have one mounted to utility pole maybe less than 20 meters from their home. So this kind of, invasive bombardment with this many antennas, I mean, just in 1 square mile, if you do the math, 1 per block and 16 blocks per mile, that's about 250 antennas per square mile. The millimeter wave is untested. Former FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler openly said that they don't plan to test it.
We won't wait for the standards.
And then RPO also addresses the fact that there's a plan to roll out 5G through satellites in low Earth orbit. So 20,000 satellites, which will cover every square foot of the planet with a 5G signal.
So this amazing set of missions aim to create a super low latency telecommunications network. And how are they going to do this? Not by launching just these 60 satellites, which, let's face it, is a damn amazing mission by itself, but by launching around 12,000 satellites in 3 sophisticated orbital shells around the world. No big deal, right? The better question might be, why is SpaceX attempting to create this network?
What this whole system is leading towards, folks, is complete digital control of everybody and a merging of human beings with AI. And when you look at Elon Musk and some of the stuff he's been putting out, he's saying that it is necessary for us to merge with AI. It's going to be the only way to save us against AI completely taking over. And he's saying this needs to be done through a neural net. And listen to this.
If you assume any rate of advancement in AI, we will be left behind by a lot.
That is Elon Musk, the inventor and entrepreneur behind such futuristic endeavors as Tesla, SpaceX, and Hyperloop. And as you heard, Elon Musk has AI, artificial intelligence, on his mind these days. He says AI machines could soon outsmart us all, and his philosophy is if we can't beat them, we should join them by implanting AI computers directly into our brains.
So, from a long-term existential standpoint, that's like the purpose of Neuralink, is to create a high bandwidth interface to the brain such that we can be symbiotic with AI. Because we have a bandwidth problem. These can't communicate through your fingers, it's too slow. So I think if we can effectively merge with AI, like improving that the neural link between your cortex and your digital extension of yourself, which already, like I said, already exists, just has a bandwidth issue.
Pay close attention to what he said there. What he said was that this interface already exists. It's just that they have to improve the bandwidth. They have bandwidth problems. So how might these bandwidth problems be improved?
Not just that 5G is faster than 4G and that's it. It has other features such as much lower latency. It also has higher capacity for bandwidth and higher capacity for number of devices.
SpaceX took the first step towards its orbiting internet system late Thursday. A Falcon 9 rocket launched from Florida's Cape Canaveral with a payload of 60 small satellites. Eventually, CEO Elon Musk wants to put 12,000 up there.
As these smart technologies begin to invade our homes, we are becoming mere nodes in a giant network that we yet but dimly comprehend. Called the Internet of Things, the plan is to create a network that will eventually include every single object on the planet. And as the public is finally becoming aware, such networks provide golden opportunities for corporations and governments alike to collect data and spy on the population. This is not mere conjecture. Before becoming enmeshed in an affair that ultimately derailed his career, former CIA Director David Petraeus bragged openly about how these smart technologies would allow intelligence agencies to spy on everyone in their own homes using their own appliances. Speaking at a summit for In-Q-Tel, the CIA's venture capital firm, Petraeus noted, "Items of interest will be located, identified, monitored, and remotely controlled through technologies such as radio frequency identification, sensor networks, tiny embedded servers, and energy harvesters." In practice, these technologies could lead to rapid integration of data from closed societies and provide near-continuous, persistent monitoring of virtually anywhere we choose. Whether Petraeus' own downfall as a result of FBI eavesdropping on private emails as part of a plan to warn future would-be whistleblowers, poetic justice, or mere irony, it is nonetheless instructive. When everything that anyone does is tracked, traced, and databased at all times, from our dishwasher usage to our television viewing to our toilet flushes, no one will be able to avoid the gaze of the state, regardless of whether or not they have something to hide. As IT World's Kevin Fogarty observed, if J. Edgar Hoover were alive, he would die of jealousy at the technologies available to the would-be big brothers of today. For the unimaginative out there, Hollywood yarns like Enemy of the State have provided fictional examples of what can go wrong if someone, somewhere, abuses the power of information and surveillance to target an innocent person in the wrong place at the wrong time. To be sure, the power that these technologies give for agencies or corrupt groups within those agencies to destroy the lives of targeted individuals is itself a fitting answer to the question of why government surveillance should be troubling to us. But beyond what can happen to specific targeted individuals in such a scenario is a much larger question. What if this data were being fed into a database so gargantuan it contains a digital version of every single person on the planet? And what if that database were being used by the Department of Defense to wargame various scenarios, from public reactions to natural disasters to the likelihood of civil unrest in the wake of a declaration of martial law? Remarkably, this is precisely what is happening. It is called the Sentient World Simulation. The program's aim, according to its creator, is to be a continuously running, continually updated mirror model of the real world that can be used to predict and evaluate future events and courses of action. In practical terms, that equates to a computer simulation of the entire planet, complete with billions of nodes representing every person on the Earth. At the time of initial reports on the program 5 years ago, there were only 62 country-level simulations being run by the U.S. Department of Defense. These simulations grouped humans into composites, with 100 individuals acting as a single node. But already at that time, the U.S. Army had used the systems to create a one-to-one level simulation of potential Army recruits. The ultimate aim would be to archive enough data on each individual to be able to make a computer model of everyone on the planet, one that could be used to predict the behaviors and reactions of every single person in the event of various scenarios.
Now, creating a world simulation is not a new concept. Even a sentient one has been attempted over and over. For the public, these often came in the form of video games. The problem with these models is that they have to be constantly changed and upgraded. Every time there is a major event, new trend, or change in the real world. The Sentient World Simulation does this automatically. So what this is a synthetic mirror of the world we live in. Not a piece of it, but the entire world. And this program constantly recalibrates calibrates the simulation based on real-time world events, trends, theories, economics, history, almost everything you can think of that would contribute to an accurate model. Not to mention the individual pieces of data on every single person represented in the simulation. So to put this in perspective, what this is a digital clone of our world and everyone in it.
Jade came from a three-part software program, and that together, that program is called Jade. And essentially, there's a data dump, there's an analyzing program, and then there's a war chest style program that takes all the data that funnels into it at all times and analyzes it and breaks it down to exactly the meaningful info that is then deployed to people in the field. One thing about Jade 2.0, which is what we're at right now, is Jade 2.0 isn't using traditional computers. It's using very small, complex, little, tiny machines. It is a quantum-style computer. And that's something that hasn't been done on the warfront that I know of. And a lot of times, when you're talking quantum computers, you're talking thousands of processors onto a space that you can't even see. It's so small. The military has finally come up with an answer. How do you listen to the world's data and analyze it and have the computing power to do it all in real time? With quantum computers, you can do that. That in itself is a lot that's coming at us. But without the quantum computers in the mix, they would never ever have the processing power to be able to pull off a war based upon real-time information delivered directly to the soldiers' hands in the field instantaneously. Essentially, what we're up against is we're up against a software program that's going to know us far better than we ever know ourselves. To the point, they even have modules that predetermine what somebody is about to do based upon past logging of all the historical data they've already collected. All of our patterns are easily seen. So the first phase of Jade Helm, on top of getting all their equipment deployed across the United States in very strategic locations, is literally finding where are the enemies. What are we doing? And the reason they're keeping everything so secretive is so that we are exposing ourselves by every time that we send a text and talk about Jade Helm, every time that we talk about resistance, every time that we talk about this isn't the right thing to do. Almost instantaneously, the artificial intelligence software, Jade 2.0, filed on you and me and whoever it is they are after. So Jade 2.0 is essentially the full command and conquer style military program. It eliminates all the middlemen. It goes directly from the elite or whoever's top of the chain, and it goes directly to the soldiers. There is no middleman anymore. There's no more wait. There's no more having to wait for instructions, because Jade 2.0 can give you everything you need to know instantaneously by just giving it the right data. You give the right data, it's going to take the algorithm and it's going to show you what's up and where to go and where you need to put your firepower on. Over the last couple of years, they fired 200 of the top, the best, the top shelf generals. They've gotten rid of them. And they are the guys who would literally not pull the trigger on civilians. People who are willing to do whatever it takes. Some of the scary things that Jade can do and why it's so scary is the fact that this information is assimilated and is run through war game software. And the war game software is able to tell them, the commanders in the field in real time, what to do, who the resistance is, and where the resistance is at. It's almost like a battle that don't need real generals and colonels for. It's a battle that deploys and plays out by itself. What I personally find most heartbreaking is that essentially the technology that we've come to love and to use and to build and to change society for the better, we hoped, has now been used and is being used to hunt us and kill us, and is essentially our greatest enemy that we've known to date. If they were being forthcoming and were telling us what really Jade Helm was all about, would be out scrambling and trying to find as much data as we can on this. This is why it's pretty clear to see that Jade Helm began the second they announced it, and the second people began reporting all the military action. And that's what Jade Helm is all about. It's about mastering the human domain. What will we do? What will we be doing next? How are we going to do it? Who are our friends? What do our friends think? Are there political people among us? Are there fighters among us? What are we going to do? Master the human domain. Every time you go to...
And there you have it. Well, they're radiating me now. I can hear the frequencies. Wow. So, they're mapping the mind. Even with the Wi-Fi off, you have to radio them. Wow. It's dark, toxic skies outside. Isn't it interesting, different parts of the world, the temperature's different in Jamaica. Now they're going about, there's completely different countries. Wow, they've got AI as well in Jamaica. Thinking that even in parts of Jamaica and in parts of the world, they have a national commerce centre. The street lamps are not 5G as much as they are for advertising. It's interesting when you watch weather cameras because the traffic is so bad. Makes you, oh, well, you've got a sun reflections of the, it's interesting. Be time to make. So Los Angeles webcam now, let's see what's going on there. Well, they've got a lot of bad weather. They're just waking up. Yeah. San Francisco weathercam. Oh my goodness me, you even got the toxicity skies. San Francisco. The skyline is pink. The red and orange at the moment. So they're just waking up. Pretty skyline at night time with the lights. But they've got it. Oh my goodness me. You've got the sun projection. It's the same worldwide. You see, like it's in the other obvious signs. Thailand Beach. Different hours. They've even got 5G on the smart lights in Thailand Beach. Oh my gosh. It's still night time over there. Wow. Okay, I heard that there's a bad New York in America, they got really bad winter snow. So I'm finding around it. So. Don't know where the snow went. They cut off my video feeds again. Oh look, we're tricky to understand your words. Ugh. You don't comprehend when there is gaslighting, hacking going on. Yeah, Sky Watchers. Remember, when you come to this channel, I'm the target individual. These little buggers. Alright, what's the mainstream media portraying it in England, isn't it?
With Dropbox, your content, tools, and team members are always just a click away. You can access and share files.
Oh, I'm not from that. Cabal. I think it's Cabal. Oh, here we go. Here we go. About half an hour drive away from here. It's Conquer and Divide again in the mainstream media. Oh, isn't it just love the controlled mainstream media? Really? look at that. There's this. Where's this location? The port. Where's the port? America. A lot of snow and the ship going out, I think. And there is pink and red sunrise. Wow, isn't that interesting? The skies are full of comets, red, pink. As the ship goes out. Wow, that's fascinating to see.
On the Duluth area lift bridge, this near Wilfred Sykes.
Arizona sunrise. Someone's just made red skies. Well done to them. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing Evacuations. Planet Windward skies. He's seen the comets. Yeah, look at that. That's the comet windward. See the red? Look at that red. Cover up the sky. Check out the tunnel. Let's see what if there is.
Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Woke up this morning on my horizon. 3 little birds were on my doorstep, singing songs, melody blowing through. And they said, this message is you. They said, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing.
I'll play that. He hasn't even put in his channel the blackout video. Earth has shifted a month ago.
All the people on the broken homes don't want to fight.
Can't play it without that music.
Fight some more.
5G. Yeah, I can't play that. Crazy weather in USA, Japan and Canada. Let's have a look.
Come in.
Apparently, Spain shot a light-shot Cervantes army violent storm huge waves hit Tenerife 3 days ago.
Hi, Harry. How are you getting on?
Oops, 2 o'clock. Got team.
Mother Earth is fighting back. Wow.
Resulted in restaurant windows being smashed, cars carried out to sea, and a football field destroyed by severe floods on the tourist island of Tenerife. According to local mayor Alvaro de Vila, 65 apartments, some of which were considered holiday homes, had evacuated. He also confirmed that no one was hurt as a result of the ban that resulted in 39 people being ordered to leave 2 buildings in Virachico in northwest Tenerife. Meanwhile, diners were stunned after wind smashed the windows of a hotel restaurant on the island's south coast.
Wow.
The incidents came after regional government officials issued a severe weather warning when a severe storm hit northern Tenerife and other parts of the Canary Islands. Virachico was one of the hardest hit areas. Waves crashed against the seawall and flooded the streets, to the amazement of the locals, who filmed the water running towards them, fleeing. Further south, in the resort area of Adeje, there were also reports of waves breaking the windows of the hotel restaurant, although again there were no casualties. The first evacuations took place around 10 p.m. on Saturday evening, while others took place around have announced that schools will be closed today due to a severe warning.
Ay, mare, estic en el Mercadona de Berreguar comprant.
There's a very large sun exposure over the mountain of ski resorts. People go on holiday abroad have a skiing trip. Where's that? Creek. Is that Creek Island? Spraying over it. Toxic skies. Wow. They're definitely spraying out the skies. There's a shadow planet next to it, eclipsing. You might not be able to tell. Creek. I'm not sure what island. 10 to 4 today. There it is. Just looking at weather cams. Excuse me. Oh dear. Getting darker enough. So keep up in my bloody phone. Yeah. Keep up in me. Good one. Living in a little bit house. 10 to 4, 8, 5 to 4. 7, 7. Not here, right? Is it raining? Hold on a minute. Didn't get much sunlight. Get radiated with the all this on. December. Mike Anson. Ossos. The Importal Nano Network brief summary. The hacking my network. So I can't view this. The electrical active field will be transmitted through the carbon nanotubes. Signals trigger electrical activity of the brain tissue surrounds them, and the map of the individual's brain activity obtained in real time. Since the carbon nanotubes are tubular graphene structures, they can portray the electrical signals to other components of the Nano One network that are the newest nano router or nano controllers. The nano routers are responsible for receiving the electrical signal, decoding it, configuring the data packets, and the receipts of the information provided the MAC identification and a distinction IP address. Additionally, this information can be encrypted to increase the security of the system and prevent biohacking. To transmit the signal outside of the body, and nano interference is required, which could have several functions. On the one hand, encryption of the data packets. On the other hand, increased frequencies, and it can be propagated outside of the body at a single distance. I'm trying to stop me up and look at this document. The ability to interact with each other by means of signals in form of pulse electric magnetic waves and electrical fields being capable of operating modular spectrum. These components may already assemble pending self-assembly when the conditions of the temperature environment are suitable. The one that is fixed in the brain. Bloody hell. How many pages? 24 pages document. Registers as file and save it. Keep accumulating you bloody well demons. Just get a life.
Waken, 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 waken,
try and log out. See? That's what I mean about the fake TIs out there.
The UK joined.